You want to see me do a TikTok dance, baby? You like that, baby?
I really do. I'm really thinking about how great that would be.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
Okay.
Welcome to A Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. I hope you had a good weekend. It was a bit of a tough one for President Trump. His rally was a bust. Bolton's book got the go-ahead, and to top it off, yesterday, he got a card reminding him that he's Eric's father. Saturday night's rally was supposed to be Trump's big moment. He's been jonesing for the frothed-up crowd for 3 months. His campaign was advertising it as the Great American Comeback Festival. That's right. This indoor rally of thousands of screaming fans was a chance for a comeback for Trump and COVID-19. One of them's going to have a really big fall. Leading up to the rally, Trump predicted greatness.
Over 1 million people requested tickets. Well, there's just a hunger for the rallies, and I enjoy doing them, but they enjoy them more importantly than me. They enjoy them. It gives energy to everybody.
We expect to have, it's like a record-setting crowd. We've never had an empty seat, and we certainly won't in Oklahoma.
He's right. There wasn't an empty seat. There were thousands of them. Wow, that's a lot of empty space and aimless mingling. That looks like a Beyonce concert of just the dads who are dropping their daughters off. The emptiest of all the empty seats were in the stadium's upper deck. So before anyone says that the Trump campaign crapped the bed, clearly they pulled an upper decker. Trump's team was so overconfident about the attendance, they built an overflow stage outside for a pre-rally speech by Trump and Pence for their estimated crowd of 40,000. Instead, the crowd was 25 people. That's not a presidential rally. That's the private party room at the Olive Garden. 25 people. It doesn't say great things when there are fewer people in your crowd than have credibly accused you of sexual assault. In fact, there were so few people at the overflow stage that the campaign decided to dismantle it while the event inside was just starting. It reminds me of the beautiful message in A Field of Dreams. If you build it,
people still won't like you.
To put this disaster in perspective, the arena Trump spoke in can hold more than 19,000 people, but only 6,200 people attended. That's 1/3 capacity. No, I don't want to be a glass half empty kind of guy, but half empty would be a huge improvement. According to those in the know, before the rally even started, Trump and several staff members stood backstage and gazed at the empty Bank of Oklahoma Center in horror. So the campaign sent out a last-ditch effort text reading, "Doors are open to the BOK Center. President Trump can't wait. There's still space." Come on, guys, have a little chill. That's like group texting your coworkers, "Doors are open at my birthday party in my backyard. Bowl of baby carrots, can't wait. There's still ranch." So, why on earth did they think 1 million people wanted tickets? The answer is, as usual, internet pranksters. Because TikTok users took partial credit for inflating attendance expectations, saying they completed the free online registration for the rally with no intention of going. And it wasn't just the TikTokers. It was also the K-poppers. Fans of Korean pop music groups claimed to have registered potentially hundreds of thousands of tickets for Mr. Trump's campaign rally as a prank. Well, if that's true, I just want to say to K-pop fans, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, which I'm told this is in the K-pop world. And I hope that's not another prank. News reports this morning said that Trump was angry at his campaign staff over the rally, but White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany denied that he was upset.
The president was not angry at all. The president was quite energized. He was in a great mood. It was a great night, and there was a lot to celebrate.
Oh, a lot to celebrate. Let's see his triumphant celebratory return to the White House after Tulsa.
It's a celebration.
Even after the rally was over, the bad news kept coming for the president because it was revealed today that 2 of his staff members who attended the Trump rally on Saturday have tested positive for the coronavirus. Wow. Imagine how dangerous that would have been if people had shown up. And even before the rally, 6 members of the advance team tested positive, and the number of people connected to the event who test positive is expected to rise. Now, you know Trump's going to spin that as a positive. While the 2 million people who registered for the event have gotten COVID-19, I bravely exposed only 6,000 people. I saved literally hundreds of thousands of lives with my record unpopularity and general air of turd in a punch bowl. Not only was Trump's crowd size historically disappointing, so was the content of his speech. Trump started off by reminding everyone what's at stake in 2020, or as he said,
the choice in 220 is very simple.
That's right, 220. Yes, the choice in 220 is very simple. Will you bow to the left-wing Visigoths, or like a true patriot, vote for Emperor Marcus Aurelius Antoninus Augustus, make the empire great again? Is that good? Right now, coronavirus cases are surging in 23 states, and that doesn't make Trump's handling of the virus look competent. But the president says it's not his fault.
And with testing, testing is a double-edged sword. Here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
COVID has killed over 120,000 Americans, and he wants to slow down the testing. But at least he said, please, Mother, may I kill everyone? Now, to try to deflect blame from himself, Trump tried out some new names for the coronavirus.
COVID-19. That name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. Oh, it's COVID. It's this. By the way, it's a disease, without question, has more names than any disease in history. I can name Kung Flu.
That name is incredibly offensive, and that's not me talking. That's White House senior advisor Kellyanne Conway, who said this in March when she found out someone unnamed in the White House had used that phrase.
Of course it's wrong. That's very hurtful and unhelpful. So you should tell us all who it is. I'd like to know who it is.
Careful what you ask for, Kellyanne. You know what they say, ignorance is your boss. But now that she knows who it is, you know that Kellyanne is going to march into the Oval Office and give that guy a piece of her soul. Trump also talked about the other pressing national issue on everyone's mind. That time he couldn't walk down a ramp last week. He had some excuses.
So we walk like the equivalent of about 3 blocks, which is fine. We go on stage, which is fine. The sun is pouring down on me, okay? The stage was higher than this one. And the ramp was probably 10 yards long because I'm wearing leather bottom shoes, which is good if you're walking on flat surfaces. It's not good for ramps. This was a steel ramp. It had no handrail. It was like an ice skating rink. Really steep, really, it's an ice skating rink. It's brutal.
If that felt really long, it's because it was. Trump talked about Rampgate for a whopping 10 minutes and 23 seconds, which is almost as long as it took him to get down that ramp.
Weak old ramp slam.
But enough with the excuses about why he couldn't walk down a ramp. At West Point, Trump also had trouble drinking a glass of water, and he had an excuse for that, too.
And I don't want to get water on the tie. And I don't want to drink much. So I lifted up the water. I see we have a little glass of water. Where the hell did this water come from? Right? Where did it come from? And I looked down on my tie, because I've done it. I've taken water, and it spills down into your tie. It doesn't look good for a long time. And frankly, the tie is never the same.
Well, that is reassuring. The president has no trouble drinking water one-handed. He just can't do it without dribbling all over himself. Then came the big moment. That's how low the bar is for Trump these days. He gets applause for sipping water. It reminds me of Eisenhower's re-election slogan, "I like Ike because he can use the big boy potty." And take a look at what Trump does after successfully drinking water. So he proved he can drink a glass of water, he just can't put it down. He should really be careful, or he's going to have to tell a 10-minute story next week about how he couldn't walk off that stage on Saturday. Some idiot threw water and broken glass all over the stairs. Pretty sure it was Antifa. Trump's bad weekend started when a federal judge ruled that my guest tomorrow night, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, could publish his new book. But it wasn't a total victory because thanks to the ruling, Bolton may be in jeopardy of forfeiting his $2 million advance. Ooh, jeopardy. Then this joke will be in the form of a question. Who cares, Alex? Last night, to warm up for my interview, Bolton sat down with ABC's Martha Raddatz, and Raddatz asked Bolton about Trump's place in history.
How do you think history will remember Donald Trump?
I hope it will remember him as a one-term president who didn't plunge the country irretrievably into a downward spiral we can't recall from. We can get over one term. 2 terms I'm more troubled about.
Okay, but most of us are pretty troubled by the first term. If I went to a restaurant where the waiter spit in my chowder and slashed my tires, my first thought wouldn't be, I sure hope my next visit here isn't troubling. Raddatz also asked Bolton about his claim that he had personally witnessed Trump tying U.S. aid to Ukraine to an investigation into Vice President Joe Biden.
What exactly did the president say to you?
Well, he directly linked the provision of that assistance with the investigation.
The president denied it, tweeting, "I never told John Bolton that the aid to Ukraine was tied to investigations into Democrats, including the Bidens." Is the president lying?
Yes, he is. And it's not the first time either.
What? The president lies? All this and more in Bolton's explosive new book, The Room Where No That's What Happened. We've got a great show for you tonight. James Corden is here, but when we come back, a visit with the First Lady, Melania Trump. Stick around.